Welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studios right here in Bethel Park. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. I got Chip Hayner here. Sad to say, Smoking Jim had a bad accident, was in a metal collar for 3 days, got out of the hospital. I know none of the details about what kind of health he's in or if he's going to therapy or anything, but his car was possibly totaled. And it happened right at Planet Fitness, right here in Bethel Park. A lady ran a red light and crushed him. His airbags went on. And he didn't tell me about any of his injuries because you know what a private guy is, but he said, thanks for all the prayers. And I posted it on Facebook the other day. We got over 300 replies, and he replied to everybody that prayed for him, whether he knew him or not. And he doesn't remember a lot of you, so he didn't know a lot of the people. He kept asking me, who are they? But we're praying for him again. He can't be here tonight, so we'll carry on without it. Chip and I usually do well, so we'll handle that. But Anthony here told me, I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, I think you can see the cake. Guess what? Miss Elaine does a great cooking show. Check it out on BPTV. She's the children's librarian. She's a friend of mine. Her boys went to KO. And that's my alma mater, so I'm going to eat this when I get a chance.
And by the way, folks, the cake was delicious.
Get a picture of Chipper. I'm dying to eat it. When Chip's talking, this mask is coming done.
Yeah.
I'm going to be eating.
You don't put a piece of chocolate cake in front of me and expect it not to get eaten.
And there's even a cherry on top. Look at that. And sprinkles. And even a little chocolate chip on there. I snuck one in to try it. It was magnifique. But that's a little bit of our entertainment here tonight. We got some sports to talk to you today, some late breaking news with the Steelers, and I'm going to do a couple of my promos. First of all, thanks for watching us on Comcast 7. That's only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and all the way from Nemacolin to Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between. We appreciate that. Thanks for all the likes on our Facebook page, 6,924 likes. So we appreciate you watching and liking our shows and the page. Now we'll get to those little promos. We got Connor here with us. You know how great he is on this. I got the mark. Anthony put the mark here. We'll see what Connor can do. I'm looking there. Perfect. Olive Oil's Pizzeria, they were sponsoring us with a pizza. Like I told you, during the COVID, we can't really eat in the studio. We're 6 feet apart. And tonight I'll make an exception with that cake because my mouth is watering. But they have great Italian food, pizza, hoagies, you name it. Everything Italian there. It's all fresh and delicious. Check it out, 412-831-1900, Hillcrest Shopping Center. You can't miss them. Next up, Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, 2600 South Park Road. They have that red trolley there. It's no T, it's a trolley. That's what we used to ride on the streets and everywhere, but it's there. Schoolhouse was built in 1905. It's been basically remodeled from top to bottom. They rent it out. They have a library. They got different old uniforms from the wars. They even have my favorite tea place, which is Reginald's Coffee right on the corner. They're open, stop in. They have fresh roasted coffee every day between 7 and 2. If you ask for loose leaf green tea, tell them Al Levine, the talking machine, sent you. Try some Dragonwell. That's one of my favorite loose leaf teas, but they're very good. Next up, we end each show with Stay Joey Strong in honor of a 9-year-old boy, Joey Fabus, who died of brain cancer called DIPG. And when he was 9 years old, and it's today's the day that he died. I think it was 7 years ago. So this is an honor. We're honoring the show with him by saying "Stay Joey Strong." But you can donate money to the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Check out their website. The parents and kids have helped to fundraise over $100-some thousand to give to doctors to find a cure for DIPG. They're great people. And it's a shame they lost 2 kids. They lost the younger daughter, Hannah, who would have been 25 years old, and Joey would have been 15. And next month would be his birthday. Next up, Dave Cable likes to have a little fun at my expense. He put my face on Uncle Sam. No political motive here, but he has my smiling face there. Tell them Uncle Al Levine, the talking machine, wants you for BPTV, like Connor, Anthony, and anybody else that comes in. We want you. Call 412-831-3304. And you can be a volunteer on the cameras, on the audio, even go on location when we do on location shows. So check it out. Come on in and help us out. You're more than welcome. If you're in high school, that'll help you when you go to college or maybe even looking for a job after that. All right, another 501c3. Let Connor focus on that. He's ready. Look at that picture. We have money for you, $100 to $5,000, the Bethel Park Community Foundation. Go to bpcf.org. We have money for you. Get an application. We meet once every couple months. We can get you some money for your group doing great things in Bethel Park. And we've given out over $1 million in 25 years to local Bethel Park organizations and groups, and even the fire department and even the police. We've helped them out too, so we'll help you. Next, I got to test Connor's skills. He's been up to the task every week. We'll see what happens here.
Wow.
Perfect. Look at that with the yellow polo. He centered that perfectly.
And the chest hair. Nice.
Yeah, nice. Great close-up. Skeet Service Station, owned by Skeet Lewandowski. Thanks, Chipper. I appreciate it. And I do need that haircut at Azazu, but next week maybe. We'll see. Give them a call because they work on anything and everything that runs on gas. Boats, trucks, cars, tractors, weed whackers, hedge trimmers, you name it. If it runs on gas, like Chip says, put gas in it and they'll make sure it runs. 724-348-4715. Tell them you need help for a car registration, inspection, and they also work on electronic devices, hedge trimmers, weed whackers also, lawn mowers. You name it, if it runs on electric, they can fix that too. So they're a double-edged threat, and they even do drive shafts with cars. They have a forge. They make all kind of hooks and knives and other type of things there. It's quite the place in Finleyville. It's a red, white, and blue station, 6103 Library Road, about 6 miles from our studio. That's all I got for you. And he sponsors What's on Your Mind. So Chip Hayner, what's on your mind, Chip Hayner?
Well, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Whoa, here.
Got to see Levine.
Coming
I
at
did
you.
that in honor of my
whoa.
dear friend Jim Frazier, and we pray for a quick recovery from you,
Yes,
my
we
friend.
do.
But, you want to know what's on my mind. We've got plenty of sports to talk about this week. We have the NFL playoffs.
Yeah.
We've got Steeler news to pay attention to. The Pittsburgh Penguins have started off the year a little better than anticipated. Some good news there. But, and let's not forget about Pitt basketball.
Yeah.
Pitt basketball, look at that. They beat Syracuse and then Duke back to back. And Justin Champagnie is actually in the conversation for ACC Player of the Year. Let me say that again. A member of the Pitt basketball team is in the conversation for ACC Player of the Year. So that is breaking news.
Yeah.
But if you want to know what's on my mind,
Yeah.
everybody knows I have an affliction for the game of baseball. And, as far as I'm concerned, all 4 seasons of the year are baseball seasons. and we're coming up on spring training soon enough, in about a month or so. But what the Pittsburgh Pirates have done within the last 2 weeks is they've made some moves that this team absolutely had to make. And I tip my hat to the job that Ben Cherington is doing, and that he's been giving the leeway to make the moves that they need to make the Pirates a better team. It's probably not going to make them a better team this year, but moving forward, it is absolutely things that needed to happen. The Pirates traded fan favorite Josh Bell and they got 2 highly rated prospects from the Washington Nationals. And just this weekend, they traded Big Joe Musgrove. Joe Musgrove, at the best, he was the number 1 pitcher on our staff last year. But at best, he's a number 5 starter. And we traded him to the San Diego Padres, who, by the way, have gone all in the battle to try to outspend the Los Angeles Dodgers and to try to win the National League Western Division. Whether they're successful or not, time will tell. But the haul that Ben Cherington got for Joe Musgrove is going to make the Pirates a better team moving forward. They got a player who is legitimately considered a 5-tool player named Hunter Head, who's a center fielder, who was the number 7 rated prospect in their system. And know this, the San Diego Padres had the top rated farm system in Major League Baseball because they were bad for so long. And all they did was they kept on stockpiling young talent.
Yeah.
And they're trading that now to get to the point where they can
compete.
Attempt to compete. Just because you spend the money doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna see the end result. So Ben Cherington, after 1 year in the job, looked at what the Pirates had in their minor league system and their major league system, and he realized that the one thing that this team was devoid of was talent. And so the only way that the Pirates are ever going to contend is to amass talent and develop talent. And this is something that Ben Cherington has a track record of doing. If you look at what he did with the Boston Red Sox, acquired a bunch of young talent, developed the talent, won 2 World Series. Then he moved on to Toronto, and look what he's done to Toronto. Toronto is now again considered a contender with a ton of young talent on the team. One of the downfalls, Neil Huntington and Clint Hurdle, was they would get their talent to the major leagues and development stopped at that point. You did not see any advancement. As a matter of fact, the players plateaued and then ultimately were traded where they were able to realize their potential and become stars. So the talent was wasted. Ben Cherington's got a history of doing this, and organization-wide, they've made huge strides in bringing in people that are known to be able to develop talent.
Right.
The Pirates went all in the international market, which was somewhere that they were severely lacking in the last half a dozen years, and they picked up one of the most coveted players, signed him to a $2.5 million bonus. His last name is Polanco. I think it's Shaylin Polanco. Yeah. No relation to Gregory Polanco.
Thank goodness.
The young man is 16 years old, and they see nothing but upside to him. Now, are any of these players guaranteed bona fide major league players?
No.
We never know. That remains to be seen. But picking up all this talent, having a very high pick, the number 1 pick in the draft this year, we're going to continue to be able to stockpile talent, and that is ultimately what's going to help the Pirates to become competitive again. It's not a process that's going to happen overnight, but the Pirates are committed to doing this. I would have had less respect for Ben Cherington and Derek Shelton had they trotted out the same team that they had last year and expected a different result. That would have been the definition of insanity. Their team was the worst in the major leagues last year. As much as everybody here loved Josh Bell, his performance last year, for lack of a better way to put it, was pathetic.
Yeah.
Joe Musgrove did a lot of great things for the city, for the organization, and both these players will be dearly missed. And I wish them happy, lucrative, and healthy professional baseball careers. It's just not going to happen for them here in Pittsburgh. Right. But, the Pirates are taking the steps that they need to take to be a contending team at some point in the future. And I tip my hat to them. I'm excited to actually watch what kind of product that they put on the field this year. And if people don't know, I am a card-carrying season ticket holder, 10 years running, and I will continue to maintain my season ticket status. And I go to a lot of baseball games because I don't root for the players, I root for the team. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the brand of baseball that's going to be played by a bunch of young players who are trying to make a name for themselves and prove that they belong in the major leagues, as opposed to overplaying for mediocre players who are well past their prime.
Yeah.
There
We've
you
done
wanna-
that. We've had it happen.
And so you want to know what's on my mind? There you have it.
Go
That's what's on
Buccos.
my mind.
Well, thank you, Chip. I appreciate it. What's on my mind, you alluded to some of it, Pitt basketball. I just met a gentleman the other night. I was at a birthday party, social distancing and stuff, and he said his name was Guy. And I said, I had a friend when I was a teenager named Guy. He goes, well, I'm Guy, and I work at the Peterson Center. You know where that is? I go, I went to games there the last 15 years or so when Jamie Dixon was there. A friend of mine got free tickets. He goes, you come to the Peterson, ask for Guy. I'm the only one named Guy. So I go, how about that Pitt basketball? And he goes, yeah, they're doing well. You know, they're competitive and stuff. So I watched the Syracuse game. They win that game. And that Champagnie, what a beast.
Hasn't played for a month.
I know.
And look what he did. He lit them up.
Well, here's what amazes me. He was injured. I forget what his injury even was, but they said 6 to 8 weeks. He
Yes, he
came
did.
back in 3.
And to perform at that level.
He didn't miss a beat.
Look what he did against Duke the following game.
Well, that's
Another
what-
double-double.
That's what I was even more impressed because I was telling my son, I go, you see the record of the coaches that were assistants with Coach K. They only beat him 5 times. And now they beat him 6 times, one of his assistants, because Capel won the game with Pitt. And they
Justin
played a heck of a
Champagnie
game.
is averaging 20 points a game and
know.
10 rebounds.
I know.
This is this is rare air that
That's
he's playing
elite.
in.
That's the elite level.
Yes, it is.
And
Yes,
it's
it is.
nice to have a player like that, and you have other players that can complement him, and they're not afraid to go in there, and they got a rebounder, which helps. If you can get control of those boards, you can make some other plays down the court, and it's just a pleasure watching Pitt get back to where they were. Even though people criticize Jamie Dixon, he kept players for 4 years and developed them as players. They just weren't always in the top echelon of winning with the tournaments.
Well,
So-
he wasn't a coach that subscribed to the one and done theory.
No, not at all.
And even Mike Krzyzewski, because of his reputation as Ben, John Calipari. Interesting fact, I didn't even know you were going to talk about Pitt basketball.
Yeah.
I read something today
Uh-uh.
that Duke, Kentucky, and North Carolina, for the first time since 1961, are not even ranked.
Wow.
The last time those 3 teams were not ranked was 1961. I was 1 year old.
That's a lot of years. 59 years ago, for you people like Smoking Jim that don't do math. No offense against my buddy, prayers for him, but he wouldn't have understand the 59-year difference, Chipper.
No, and,
You get it. No, thanks for that info, but it has been rare. It truly is rare
it has been rare. And, and it looks like now Pitt was supposed to play Boston College on Saturday. And once again, that game has been postponed due to the COVID.
Yeah.
But Pitt has rescheduled another game for Saturday evening in Wake Forest.
I heard
So
that.
there
yeah.
will be a game played Saturday night, Pitt basketball.
No, I heard
So
that.
they will have another ACC game. And the interesting thing about what the Pitt basketball team has done this year is they haven't yet played Joe's Barber College. They're playing all conference games.
Right.
And Pitt is showing up well for the first time, and
In years.
And the key was Heather Lyke bringing in a coach that played in the ACC, that coached in the ACC,
And recruited.
that knows the kind of
recruited,
players
yeah.
in the game you have to play to be successful in the ACC. The unfortunate thing for Jamie Dixon, he wasn't an ACC coach.
No.
I mean, he did a great job,
In the Big East.
But the Big East, I think, was one of the best conferences of all time.
They were.
But
my opinion, too.
and the Big East tournament in New York City
Classical.
was just, that was the crown. I mean, I think the only thing that got more attention was the March Madness.
Yeah.
But I mean, the
No,
Big
that's
East
how big
tournament
it was.
something.
Yeah. They pulled in people from all over. And, it's legendary, some of the games. They've talked about it, been on TV. But, yeah, so I'm excited about Pitt basketball, which it's been a few years.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is put the positive spin on Pittsburgh sports. I mentioned last week that the next the next few years in Pittsburgh sports are going to be a little tough.
Right.
But you know, you can find gems in any dark cloud. You just have to look for them.
Sure. Sometimes you get a player, you know, out of nowhere. Look at Champagny. Who would have thought you'd have a player of that caliber? Where I even heard an interview with him. They said, "Are you thinking about turning pro?" And he said he wasn't really thinking about it, but it would be a possibility because they were saying you're destroying the ACC. So you could, you know, have aspirations with that,
you know,
and he does.
He's performing well.
Yeah.
But you know what these young players have to do: quit reading their press releases and focus on playing the game, showing up for practice, trying to make yourself better every day, and then everything else falls into place.
And look at him; he's the example, coming back from an injury in 3 weeks and playing at the level. He didn't need to ease into it. Like they said, they were watching some of his time. They didn't have to.
No.
He was good to go. So
Yes, he was.
glad we could talk about that. We're going to come back with some of Chip's trivia. So don't change that dial. Wait till you hear what Chip has for you tonight. Oh, by the way, Missy Lane, thank you for the cake. It was very moist and delicious.
Here's Lemieux. His center penalty coming up. Look at Lemieux. Oh, my heavens. What a goal. What a move. Lemieux.
Hi, Bethel Park. Uncle Al speaking. I'm asking you to come help us behind the scenes at BP TV. We're looking for some proud Bethel Park residents to help us make the shows that you want to watch. For more information, contact Station Director Dave Cable, and we will see you behind the cameras at BP TV. I had a conversation with Master Zhang. Now he wants to break a board over my head. So I told him I trust him. If he tells me one more time that I can trust him, the show's off. We're ready. Master Zhang, get up here. I got my hoagie. He said I could eat and not worry about getting crumbs in there. So I'm going to eat.
Sounds good. All right, I won't.
Don't shake or anything. We got wire.
Let's move back a little bit. Zach, get on top. Hey, don't eat yet. Just give me a second. All right, move back.
I'm
move back,
hungry.
Move back. Move back. And your knees.
How tall are you?
I'm super short.
No, just tell me how tall, because you're going to kick.
5'9".
All right, he's 5'9" unofficially. He's like my dad.
All right.
Can I eat this? I'm hungry.
Yeah, keep this mic in. All right, ready?
I'm tucked in.
Here we go.
This is delicious. Campiti.
There you go.
Go.
Yes!
I'm a little nervous. I'm nervous.
Woo!
Did you do it?
Woo!
Did you do it? I'm going to have to watch that. Thank you.
Here's Lemieux. His center penalty coming up. Look at Lemieux. Oh, my heavens. What a goal. What a move. Lemieux.
All right, we got to go to me real quick, Chip.
Go to Ellie. We
Yeah.
got some questions from a loyal listener.
Yeah, here, we got it from Tony at Chick-fil-A right on Washington Road there. You know how they got 3 wide there? That's my man. My son and I were there the other day, yesterday, and we had our Chick-fil-A breakfast meal. And I talked to Tony there for a couple minutes. He watches the show. Hey, Tony, I got your message. Chip mentioned the Pirates. Who does he think will be the open day starter in 2021? Who plays at first base? 2 good questions.
Two good questions.
Chip, you're
I
up.
I have a strong feeling that Jameson Taillon will be on the bump for the opener this year, and Colin Moran's going to be our opening day first baseman.
That's a good
Now,
one.
also to keep in mind, a couple of young players to keep an eye on. Brian Reynolds, who took a little step back last year.
Yeah.
Had a little bit of a rough year. Brian Hayes is already, at this point, one of the odds-on favorites to be National League Rookie of the Year. They haven't even played a game yet.
Wow.
So, a couple
There's
of
your
things to look
breaking
forward-
Bucko news, Tony.
couple of things to look forward to this year, and we'll watch, what happens with the
watching,
rest of them.
yeah.
So
It's entertainment.
it's interesting that we would have a baseball question before my trivia segment, because guess what's happening with my trivia segment?
Not a problem.
Not a baseball thing. Yes, it is, and once again, sad news in the baseball world.
Yeah.
Another Hall of Famer
I like
passed away this just recently. Don Sutton,
Yeah,
a
what a
Hall of
pitcher.
Fame pitcher, and he, in the last 6 or 7 months, we've had 7 or 8 Hall of Famers
Yeah.
who have passed away, and these were players who were the stars when I was a child
Hall of
growing up.
Famers. Yeah.
Donald Howard Sutton, April 2nd, 1945 to January 19th of 2021, American League Baseball professional pitcher. He played in the major leagues for 23 seasons as a member of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Houston Astros, Milwaukee Brewers, Oakland Athletics, and California Angels. Now, when Don Sutton was a rookie, Major League Baseball had 4-man pitching rotations.
Yeah.
And he became the 4th pitcher in a pitching rotation that consisted of, are you ready for this?
Go ahead.
Don Newcomb,
Whoa.
Sandy Koufax,
Whoa.
and Claude Osteen.
No, not Claude Osteen, too.
Okay. So he won a total of 324 games. He pitched 58 shutouts, winning 51 of them, including 5 one-hitters, 10 two-hitters. He is 7th on the baseball's all-time strikeout list with 3,574. Beginning in 1966, he was in the team's starting pitching rotation with Sandy Koufax, Don Drysdale, and Claude Osteen. So, he came up in the Dodgers at that time,
Yeah.
just produced pitchers. But, to
Oh,
pitch
yeah. They were a factory.
to pitch on a staff with none other than the legend of Sandy Koufax.
Wow, one of my faves.
And anybody that watched baseball in the 60s,
Yes.
Sandy Koufax was one of the most dominant pitchers in the history of baseball. And the unfortunate thing was, had Tommy John surgery existed back then, Sandy Koufax may have had a stellar career. He still made the Hall of Fame on a shortened career he had. They called it tendonitis in his elbow.
Yeah.
That shortened his career. Amazing pitcher. Sutton became, after his major league career ended, just a couple of things. 16 of Sutton's 23 Major League Baseball seasons were spent with the Dodgers. He registered only 120-win season, but earned 10 or more wins in every season except 1983 and 1988.
Wow.
Okay? He became a television sports broadcaster after
was
his
good.
retirement as a player. He worked in this capacity for several teams, the majority being with the Atlanta Braves. Sutton was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1998. Okay, let's see here.
What else do you got? Give us some more. No, I remember watching him pitch. He was a heck of a pitcher.
No, he did have a start. 23 years pitching in the major league. The interesting thing about this, now this is in an era where pitchers pitched. They threw more than 80 or 90 pitches. They pitched more than 4 or 5 innings a game.
Yeah.
He did not miss a single start in his entire career. He never
rare.
spent any time on the disabled list.
Wow. And how many games did he pitch in? Wow.
I will.
Give us a little stat
I will.
on that. There got to be something. We got a couple extra time.
Yeah, we got-
We can do a
okay.
little search.
Okay, let's see here. References. Okay.
See what you got.
Early career. Let's see what I got here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Dig in a little. Go ahead. We got time.
Yeah, dig in.
Well, 23 years.
23 years. Well, and think about the amount of victories that he had in his career.
Yeah, how many did he have there?
324 wins, 256 losses.
Right there is, that's 500
no, that's
Close to
that's pushing
600.
600. That's pushing to
Yeah.
600, close to 600 games. I believe he pitched in over 800 in his career.
Okay,
But
that's a whole lot of games.
he was
there.
a four-time All-Star, a Major League ERA leader in 1980. The Dodgers retired as number 20.
Really?
So he's in the Dodgers Hall of Fame. He's in the Braves Hall of Fame as an announcer, and he's in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. And the team that he started his career with in 1966, the Los Angeles Dodgers, he finished with the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1988. Does anybody remember what happened in 1988? That was the last time the Dodgers won the World Series before this year, when Kirk Gibson,
I remember.
in Game 1 of the playoffs, helped the Dodgers to sweep the powerhouse Oakland A's.
That's the year my daughter was born. I remember watching that with
with the
holding
Bash
baby.
brothers,
Yeah.
with the steroid boys, Jose
Yes.
Canseco and Mark McGuire.
Yeah.
So, once again, baseball's losing another one of its Hall of Famers, somebody that played the game the right way.
Right.
Younger generation probably doesn't know about him, but I'm going to hold the standard up high for the players that helped make the game what it is. They're good.
No, I
When you
appreciate
talk about, oh, this guy's the greatest we've ever seen, let me tell you something. When you play 23 years
it. You're up there.
and you win 300 plus games, I don't know if we will ever see another 300-game winner in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Not the way that baseball is trending, and certainly,
The pitch counts. The pitch
pi-
counts, they'll never make it.
They're pitching fewer innings, they're throwing fewer pitches, but the amount of pitchers that are on the disabled list year in and year out just keeps growing.
Yeah.
And it's funny, back in the day,
Yeah.
they pitched more often, they threw more pitches, and they spent less time on the disabled list.
Right.
And I just don't get it.
No, some things change over the years. Well, thank you, Chip. I appreciate that. Great information. That was great. Thanks for not changing that dial. No on-location shows right now, but I got to reminisce on a little commercial. I hope you saw it, where Master Zhang broke a board over my head almost 5 years ago at Hollywood Lanes. It's legendary. We went and did an on-location show in October. I was just telling a person I met, check out that show. Master Zhang broke 10 boards about this thick with one kick. 5 guys were holding the board so it would be steady, and he broke it with a kick. So check out that show. We're always looking and hoping for time to do our on-location shows again when we can get out and about, and we enjoy that. But yeah, stay tuned with that, and then I'll share the breaking news with we signed a quarterback, and we'll give you the details on the Steeler talk, because we're going to come back with some Steeler talk. And don't change that dial, and we'll tell you who the new quarterback is.
And his pass is broken up by Tatum. Tipped off. Franco Harris has it.
Bethel Park Inline Hockey. It's fast, it's fun, and we want you to play. Inline hockey is just like ice hockey, but no ice, and significantly less expensive and far less of a time commitment. Way less travel than ice hockey, too. The sport is played on a specialized rink at the Bridgeville Rollerplex, RMU Island Sports Complex, Harmerville's Alpha Arena, Hot Shots Indoor Sports Arena, and the Murraysville Sports Zone. Our teams play in the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Roller Hockey League, or the PIRHL. Each year, teams from elementary, middle, and high school play a 16-game schedule, plus playoffs, from October through March. Practice one evening a week and games on Saturdays or Sundays. The sport is recognized by the Bethel Park School District, which means student athletes can earn a letter once they reach high school. We play rivals such as Upper St. Clair, Peters Township, Canon-Mac, Pine Richland, North Hills, and so many more. This is no pickup game. You'll need regulation pads, hockey skates, helmets, and the coolest Hawks uniforms around. 2 refs at every game officiate 3 15-minute periods with a running clock. No icing, no offsides, no checking. But this sport will rock you. Registration is coming up, so check out our website at www.bpinlinehockey.com and sign up soon. Let's play!
And his pass is broken up by Tatum. Tipped off! Franco Harris has it!
Dwayne Haskins from Houston signed a 1-year deal.
No, he got thrown off the Washington football team.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Sorry.
You're thinking of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that's why I said, what's his name? Yeah, I was stuck on that. I was focusing on that because I was hoping he'd come here. Instead, we got another young quarterback. Bad news for all you Duck fans. I heard on the radio today on that fan, they said they didn't renew the Ducks' contract. He'll probably be out of football and be a gym teacher somewhere. And he'll be out there getting ducks. So he'll be hunting ducks. So Washington let go of a guy that caused some trouble, went from being a captain to off the team within 2 weeks. And he has some immaturity issues. But he was a number 15 first-round pick. And he went first round. So he does have some skills. And I think he's only 25 years old.
Maybe even younger than that. But here's what the thing is. You know, Dwayne Haskins had the opportunity of a lifetime. Could have been a starting quarterback on the Washington football team. And, you know, he wasn't putting in the work. He felt that just because he was Dwayne Haskins, he was going to show up.
Yeah.
And he was going to be in a star in this league. And I don't think he realized how much hard work goes into being a successful NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, he got the message. I hope he had his come to Jesus moment, and that he learns that, you know what, he's not going to get too many other opportunities.
Right.
And for the Steelers, smart move, because they gave up nothing to get him.
Yeah.
They're paying him little or nothing, and if he performs well, then it's a win. And if he doesn't perform, what'd they lose?
Nothing.
You know, so that's a win-win there. Now, the one thing that I find bothersome,
Okay.
and I think it's been well documented, that I do think that Mike Tomlin is one of the better head coaches in the NFL.
Yeah.
Smoking Jim is probably having a coronary right now because I said this, but be that as it may, it was announced by the media, not by the Steelers, that Matt Canada was going to be the next Steelers offensive coordinator.
Right. I wanted to talk about that too. Yeah.
However, according to the NFL rules and the institution of the Rooney Rule, that you do have to interview a minority coaching candidate for any of the coordinator positions
Yeah.
or your head coach. Now, think about all of the quality African-American coordinators right now. One specifically, Eric Bieniemy from Kansas City,
Yeah.
who was supposed to be the hottest prospect who hasn't gotten a job yet.
No.
And every single head coach that's been hired so far, with the exception of the gentleman who is going to be coaching, he's a Muslim.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Okay, but everybody else, they're all
Well, how about the Eagles?
they're all Caucasian.
The
So
Eagles just hired their Sirianni coach.
right. So here's the thing: the Pittsburgh Steelers brought in Hugh Jackson
I heard.
to interview for the offensive coordinator's position. I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Okay.
If the Steelers are foolish enough to hire Hugh Jackson as their offensive coordinator, all of the things that Mike Tomlin has done,
Will be
not going to
gone.
get him fired. That will be the one thing that will. Hugh Jackson has a track record of nothing less than a failure. As a head coach in Cleveland, he was 3-36.
Yeah.
Okay, can I repeat that? He was 3-36 over 2.5 years.
In one of those years, he didn't win a game.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was a failure at, so what did he do for the Cleveland Browns? He got them a couple of first selections in the draft.
Yeah, for a
if
couple
that's
years.
what you're trying to do, great, hire him as your coach. Then he went to the Cincinnati Bengals with Marvin Lewis as the offensive coordinator. You know what the Cincinnati Bengals did? They got the first pick in the draft. Do you see where I'm leading here?
I see the pattern,
He
Chip.
was a failure as an offensive coordinator for the Oakland Raiders, and now is he only being interviewed because of the requirements of the Rooney Rule? You know, because you know the way the Rooney Rule's set up, you cannot hire from within. You do have to interview other people. So nobody has been mentioned yet as the Steelers' new offensive coordinator. And the thing I found interesting is that the Steelers said that they wanted to hire an offensive line coach before they hired an offensive coordinator.
Right.
And
Who does that?
I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. And a guy that they were talking about that they interviewed for the offensive line coach, and I can't remember his name, but he was an offensive line coach for the Detroit Lions, who was another team that had one of the worst running attacks in the league.
Yes.
So is that a result of the lack of talent in the running back room, or is that a lack of talent on the offensive line? I think those things go hand in hand.
That's a
and
great
here's the one
conundrum.
thing I
Yes.
don't understand. How do you fire your offensive coordinator, your offensive line coach, your tight ends coach retired, or
Yeah.
was he asked to step down?
Usually.
But the running backs coach keeps his job.
Yeah.
And now Ike Hilliard, who was the wide receivers coach, who of anybody on the offensive side of the ball was the one that looked good this year,
Right.
is interviewing for the offensive coordinator's position
saw
with the
that.
Detroit Lions.
Yes. Yeah, because they just hired a head coach.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah. So, no, it's interesting. With Canada, I remember when they hired him, they said he could be a potential offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. And that with Figner being Big Ben's boy, there was always those rumors that, you know, when Big Ben was gone, that they need a new offensive coordinator. So I thought that was a hand in a glove thing, except for the Rooney Rule is supposed to affect all the teams. But, Chip, I don't see it.
Well, here's the thing that I find interesting is that the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars
Yeah.
said that he's been in negotiations with Urban Meyer for a month.
Yeah.
He was the man he wanted to hire as the head coach.
Oh.
So does that mean that they didn't consider anybody else? So
Yes.
they brought somebody in, and doesn't that make a mockery of the rule itself?
Let me
because
answer. Yes.
the purpose of this rule is to increase the diversity in the coaching ranks, because in a league where 75% of the players are African American,
Right.
a smaller percentage of the coaches are, and it's disproportionate, and something needs to
Well, Chip,
to
here's
change.
what's even worse to me. Some of these coaches are recycled, not one, not two, but 3 different times. And guess what? They're white coaches. So there got to be other competent black players that become coaches.
And
like-
then you've got Byron Leftwich,
Yeah,
offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Bucks.
right.
You've got Eric Bieniemy, who is the most prolific offense in the NFL the last 2 years.
Right.
How does somebody not hire him to coach their young quarterback?
Well, isn't Houston interviewing him?
Well, I believe Houston.
I thought.
I have
Yeah,
not heard any comment about him being the leading candidate for any of these.
no, I don't know
jobs.
if he's a leading candidate, but I thought he was going on an
Well,
interview.
he may have been
Yeah.
on interviews for all
I think
all
maybe-
these teams or none of them.
Right.
But it doesn't appear like they're getting ready to go anywhere.
Well, we know that they're ignoring the Rooney Rule because we see who their coaches are.
Mm-hmm.
Common sense has to come in somewhere. I've been saying it during COVID, just have common sense. Try to do the right things, be kind. Well, if you have a Rooney Rule that was passed by the NFL, you got to practice that. At least get the interviews in, and they're not doing that. So, I mean, and then, good news for our defensive coordinator. He was hired, Keith Butler.
Keith Butler was
one year. He got a one-year deal.
1 year contract. Well, to be honest with you, Tomlin's only got 1 year left on his
Right.
deal.
No, I know.
And that's not to say that he won't be extended, but
Well, they say when you're not re-upped with 2 years to go, then there may be some issues, and who knows what they are.
And who knows? No, to speak to another point with the Steelers, you know, I listen to talk radio, and I listen to talk radio because
Oh, I can't listen to some of
I
it.
want to hear what. Well, it used to be you could hear what people were concerned about because they actually took callers, and callers would have conversations with
Thank
the
you.
people on the.
They stopped
Now
that.
we don't do that. Everything is Twitter, and I don't consider Twitter to be any kind of a source for anything. So everybody's talking about the Steelers are in a rebuild. They're in a rebuild, and last time I checked, Pittsburgh Steelers won 12 games last year.
Chip.
Were they not 12-4?
Chip, one interruption. Division champs.
Okay, so do the Steelers have problems? And yes, they are many. And one of the biggest problems is salary cap issues,
Yeah.
number of players under contract. And I think that the people that, that operate in this business, that know how to operate in this business, let them do their jobs. Everybody's guessing this and that and the other thing. And you've got a couple of radio show hosts that are pushing hard for Ben not to come back. You know, and I look at it like this.
I heard it the other day on there.
I look at it like this. If Ben wants to come back, you know what? You could do a whole lot worse than having Ben Roethlisberger as your starting quarterback.
Right.
Now, I've never been the tremendous, Ben Roethlisberger fan because of the way he acted when he was younger.
I'm with you.
He was kind of, let's
How about
just leave it at
arrogant?
that.
How about arrogant?
No, that's just obnoxious.
Yeah.
There's other
I was
words.
throwing a couple.
Other words that could be used in, but we
Yes.
don't want to get censored.
I didn't say disrespectful either.
I mean, he's not a top 5 quarterback, but I'd say he's in the top 10 or 15 quarterbacks in the league.
Sure.
There's teams in the league that would give up, a whole season's worth of draft picks to
If
have
you offered
somebody.
them the teams, most of them would say yes.
But the Steelers' defense is stout.
Yeah.
Yeah, the offensive line was a train wreck this past year. Their running game was beyond pathetic. 32 in the league. It doesn't get worse.
No.
It doesn't get worse.
No.
It doesn't mean that they didn't have good guys. I just don't think they had enough talent. And and the solution to the problem is to not sign a big free agent. What you have to do in the NFL of today is you need to bring in a lot of young players
Sure.
because the
Hungry.
teams
Bring in some hungry guys.
running back by committee is the way it's done because it's the position on the team that has the most amount of injuries.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you put all your eggs in a basket with one stud running back, then he goes down the first week of the season, and then where are you?
You're done.
You've got nowhere to go. And running backs, to be honest with you, you can pick up good running backs in the second, third, fourth round, fifth round of the draft. Look across the NFL and look at the players that are performing.
Look at even a guy like Fournette is still around running.
Still, yeah, but Fournette had a history of being a cancer on the teams that he played on.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So
But he's still in the game.
And every year, a running back like him, his value goes down. Look what
Sure.
Le'Veon Bell did. He left the Steelers, and
Yeah.
has never been the same. He might have flashes of brilliance.
Yeah.
Not
Rare.
even brilliance.
No, it's rare.
Yeah, flashes of mediocrity.
Yeah.
But he didn't have very good business decisions.
No. Whoever his agent
so,
was, he should have got rid of him.
So
for
that
sure.
that being said,
But we covered the Steelers. Let's go to.
Well, no,
right?
let's talk
you
about
want
it
some
while
more?
we're on the NFL. Let's
Okay.
let's wrap it up on the NFL.
All right.
We've got conference championships tonight. Tom Brady
Yeah.
is playing in his 14th
Oh.
conference championship in a 21-year season. Pretty amazing.
It is.
Pretty amazing. Tom Brady's taking the Tampa Bay Bucks up to Green Bay. Now, I know that Smoking Jim is pulling for the Tampa Bay Bucks. He seems to think Bruce Arians is a genius.
No, he calls him that all the time.
And he and I differ on opinions of that. He told me that Bruce Arians is going to go up there and he's going to beat Aaron Rodgers. And I reminded him the last time Bruce Arians went up against Aaron Rodgers, I remember a certain team that we love very dearly lost to him in the Super Bowl.
Yes, we did.
But the play of Aaron Rodgers this year,
MVP.
no question. He's the league MVP, and his play has been. He's playing on a different plateau than
Yeah,
anybody
he's
else.
above, and he
he-
has talent near him. now.
He and Pat Mahomes.
Patrick.
They're one
You gotta
and
go
one.
Patrick, no Pat.
Patrick Mahomes. Now, what happened to Patrick Mahomes last week as the Cleveland Browns played the Kansas City Chiefs? He's questionable for this week.
Right.
We'll see what happens. And
Concussion protocol still in it.
Chad Henne, anything is possible. Isn't that the way it went?
Anything happened.
But watching the Cleveland Browns, watching the Baltimore Ravens, everybody said they were better teams than the Steelers. Look what they did in the first round of the playoffs. Look what happened to them last week. You know, Lamar Jackson once again proved
3 points.
that the formula for beating the Baltimore Ravens: shut down the run, make Lamar Jackson beat you with his arm, and look what happens.
You win.
Put up 3 points. Buffalo's going to the AFC Championship game for the first time in 26 years.
Right.
Okay, the Cleveland Browns, once again, they proved beyond any reasonable doubt that they're the Cleveland Browns. And I can promise you this: if Mike Tomlin would have miscoached as badly as Kevin Stefanski did in the second half of that game, everybody in the city of Pittsburgh would have screamed for him to be fired. Kevin Stefanski is the reason why the Browns lost that game.
Yeah.
He wasted a timeout
Oh, yeah.
on an obvious catch.
Yeah.
Okay, and just he punted
Mismanagement.
on 4th and 1.
Yeah.
Okay, on was it 4th and 9? It may have been 4th and 9.
Yeah.
But he punted when he should have gone for it. They were moving the ball consistently.
Right.
And with 4 minutes and 19 seconds left, he figured, well, I'm going to get the ball back. Well, guess what? You guessed wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And subsequently, Cleveland's going home. But the best part of that game was just before the halftime. The Cleveland Browns showed everybody why they're the Cleveland Browns. Players catches the ball, going into the end zone, fumbles it through the end zone, out the side of the end zone. Kansas City ball, they march the ball down the field, kick a field goal, so you got a 10-point swing there.
Right.
And it's just a typical Cleveland thing. So we got Kansas City, we got Buffalo.
All right. Who do you like?
I like the Buffalo Bills.
I've liked them all year. If Mahomes is in the game, I go Kansas.
I'm still going to go Buffalo, regardless of whether Mahomes in. I think Buffalo has played up to the level of competition, and they've got a score to settle with Kansas City. And Green Bay and Tampa Bay, I like Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, so
I'm
I
with
look
you
Green
on
Bay
Rodgers.
and Buffalo
Yeah, I'm with
playing
you.
in the Super Bowl.
I'm with you and Rodgers, and if it's a snowy day, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. But
Well, and I mean, you could say, oh, well, Tampa Bay up here. New Orleans suffered the same fate that Pittsburgh suffered.
Yeah.
Their Hall of Fame quarterback threw 4 picks, 3 picks and a fumble.
Yeah.
Okay? The difference in the game, the turnovers. What was the difference in the game when the Steelers played the Browns?
Easy.
Turnovers.
Yep.
We got 5. We got none. There's the difference in the game.
And they say that throughout the league. If you keep your turnovers down, you win the games.
Yeah. But, Drew Brees threw 3 interceptions in that game.
Yeah.
That's the reason why New Orleans lost.
And did you notice he couldn't throw the long ball?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he may be done.
Well, he may be. He had 11 broken ribs,
Yeah.
a punctured lung, a torn rotator cuff.
Yeah.
These are just the injuries he had this year.
And he came back in a month after the punctured lung and 11 broken ribs.
Those injuries this year. A torn rotator cuff takes most people out for a year.
Oh, yeah.
11 broken ribs and
Right.
punctured lung,
In
and
a
he came
month.
back and played.
In a month.
And he came back and
I
played.
know. It's just shocking.
Yeah, so-
No, it is.
So that's what we've got with the NFL. Next up, we've got Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
What a surprise!
I watched those last 2 games, and it was excellent games.
Well, I like this format that the NHL is going to. We play 2 games Friday and Sunday against New York Rangers
Right.
here at home. We played 2 against the Capitals
Yeah.
at home. We played 2 in Philadelphia. I said going into this season that I thought the Penguins were suspect. I didn't think that they were going to be a playoff team. I thought their defense was questionable at best.
Hold it. What about the goaltender you said?
And
Jarry?
that goaltending was going to be a problem. Well, Tristan Jarry got yanked in his second game, and Casey DeSmith has come up big. Now the Penguins have been having problems with the Capitals lately, and they managed to play very gritty And they won 2 games, one in a shootout and
Yeah.
one in overtime.
Right.
The game they won on Sunday, after the first period, people were shutting off the game. This is horrible.
Oh,
This
yeah, it was
team
hard to
stinks.
watch. Yeah.
And then the Penguins lost 2 defensemen, okay? And their
Right.
defense is suspect to start with. And then somehow, some way, the Penguins came together as a team and started playing like they were
Like
former
champs,
champions.
yeah.
And they tied the game up. Sid Crosby very shortly into overtime.
Right.
Pokes one past the goaltender. And look at the Penguins. They're 2-2. I think the Penguins have a lot of questions yet to answer.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the same with all the NHL teams. They had 1 week of training camp.
Yeah.
The Penguins completely dismantled their roster with the exception of their stars.
Yeah.
And, so they've got a team that's going to play together and it's going to learn to play together.
Well, they got gaps. They got some
and,
gaps.
and,
there.
then, and they've got room for growth.
Yeah.
I think the goaltending is still a huge question mark.
Right.
What kind of what is Mike Sullivan going to do? Casey DeSmith is the hot goaltender. They always say you ride your hot hand.
Yeah,
But how long do you sit Tristan Jarry and these
Here's what I think. You can't go that long with the Smith because you made the choice that Jarry's your number 1 goaltender. And sure, goaltenders have their ups and downs, but you got to get him in a couple series that he'll be a little more advantageous with a chance for a win. And they got to try to get him in there shortly to try to do that, get a little streak going for him.
Yeah, and I agree, but it does present some problems.
Oh, it's severe.
so-
the Smith played very well. He let 1 or 2 in that maybe should have been
No,
stopped.
he stood tall in the second half of the Washington game, and
Well, in the shootout,
and he played.
How about the shootout? You got Ovechkin
Mm-hmm.
coming in on you, and he stopped him like it was nothing.
Yeah, no.
That was impressive.
So
to
the
me.
Penguins have a lot of work to do. There's 52 games left, 56-game
Yes.
season, and they're going to be interesting to watch. And all the teams are suffering the same problems. Nobody had a training camp. Now, the interesting thing I heard this morning was that 3 of the Washington Capitals are now in the COVID protocol. Ovechkin, Konechkov, who they're top 2 players. And we just got done playing a 2-game series with them because they also got fined for breaking COVID protocol.
$100,000.
Because they had players were congregating in a player's hotel room against the rules. So, now here's the question I have to have. How's that going to affect the Penguins? Okay, because we played them 2 games, back to back.
Here's what I've said about football, basketball, and everything. You're sweating on guys, you're bouncing into guys, and it's easy to pass it on. There's no doubt about it. So I think we're at risk. Now, I know we're getting close. We're under that minute. I look over there.
Yeah,
I can't see it. I got to look over my shoulder. But
Once again, somehow the machine and I ate up an hour and there's no dead air. Huh?
we hope you enjoyed it. We did hit a couple periods, but we carried on like we did. And it was just nice to be able to entertain you during our COVID experience here. And we're practicing our social distancing. You just stay safe and healthy out there. And we'll be back next week. It's our Thursday night special, 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. We'll be here again next week. Hopefully Smokin' Jim will be back. And we'll get the updates on him. And just stay Joey strong.